just start in our usual comfortable seated position. Just bring ourselves to our mats. Not only the physical way, but just get ourselves in a good yogi mindset. A few deep cleansing breaths in through our nose and out from our mouths. Check in with how we are feeling right now. As we move, always making sure that we are listening to what our body is trying to communicate to us. If it needs something special or a little bit more of the usual. We'll inhale, lift our hands up to the sky. Seal our lips and exhale from our nose. Bring those hands together at our hearts. Pull the shoulders back. Lift the heart. Lift from the top of the head. Again, inhale. Lift the hands up high. Wiggling the fingers, dropping the shoulders, bringing those palms together. Exhaling from our nose. Bringing the hands together at our hearts. Pulling the shoulders back, opening the heart. Inhale, lifting the hands up high, wiggling the fingers, dropping the shoulders, and now we'll just sway over to the right, lowering the right hand down to the mat, reaching the left up and over, and then take that left hip, press it down into our mats, opening up in that side body. And then inhale, lift the hands up high, bringing the palms together and exhaling them down to our hearts, pulling the shoulders back, lifting the heart, breathing into our bellies. And then inhale, lifting those hands up high, wiggling the fingers, roll around in the wrists, lowering the shoulders away from our ears, and then exhaling over to the other side. Left hand can find the floor, reaching up and over with that right hand, keeping the shoulders in the same plane. Look up toward those fingers. Or maybe we bring the gaze down toward the earth. Good. Inhaling, hands come up high. We'll bring those palms together one more time, exhaling them down to our hearts. Take a breath here, inhaling deeply, exhaling completely. Let's inhale, lift those hands up high. And exhale, folding forward this time, hinging at the hips, bringing the fingers and the chest forward as we arc our way down, lowering the hands to our mats, keeping the back relatively straight. Several breaths here, lengthen on those inhales. And sink lower into that fold on the exhale. One more. Inhale here. Exhaling. When we get to the tail end of that exhale, we'll drop the head and slowly walk those hands backwards as we inhale, rolling our way up. Let's bring those hands back behind us, a little bit of an arch in the spine as we lift the heart, pulling the shoulders back, lifting the nose up toward the sky. And then we'll come back to the center. Good. And now we are in our cross-legged position right here. What we're going to do is whichever foot is forward, so it might be different than mine, we're just going to grab those toes to the pinky toe side of that foot. And we're going to bring the knee into our chest first. And then begin to lengthen out in front of us. It doesn't have to be all the way long, but just begin to lengthen a little bit in that leg, holding the toes if we can. If we would like, we can crawl up that leg to the ankle, to the calf, behind the hamstring. And then we'll lower that leg down to the mat. We'll find ourselves in Janu Shirshasana here. And at first, we're just going to think about our foot. We're going to wiggle the toes, kind of forget about our feet. And they hold us up literally all day long, every day. And then begin to roll around, maybe little circles in one direction. And then the other direction. A little Krakalasana here at the beginning of our practice. And now, big flex in the foot and a big point in the toe. A big flex in the foot. We can help with our hand if we need. And a little point in the toe. Lengthen that top of the foot. Good. And then we'll just come back to an easy flex here in that foot. Our other foot is into the thigh. And then we'll inhale, lift those hands up to the sky, and we'll just turn toward the bent knee. So I'm going toward my right knee, and then my hands will come down into a little twist here. Lengthen on the inhales. Exhale. Begin to turn those shoulders a little bit further, rotating the ribs around. Encouraging our body as we breathe. Good, and slowly we'll come back to the center. Good, hands will be right in front of our legs. Just a few breaths here in just a regular forward fold. Inhale, we lengthen. Exhale, just a little fold. Wiggle those fingers forward. Chest comes forward as we exhale. One more breath. Inhale, we lengthen. Exhale, we fold a little bit more. And then on our next inhale, we're just going to walk those hands back about halfway. And then turn toward that extended leg. One hand on either side, bringing the chest to center over that long leg. And then inhale, we lengthen. Exhale. We're already folded a little bit, so just continue that fold as we breathe. One more breath. Inhale. Exhale, melt into that fold. And then we can drop the head. And even hang here for just a moment before we inhale and roll our way up to the top. Nice and tall. Keeping this bent leg right where it's at, flexing the foot. We'll just kick ourselves in the bum with that extended leg. So my left leg is coming back and we'll find ourselves in deer pose here. Right here, we'll take a few breaths. Let those hips begin to settle into where we're at. A little bit of a different configuration right here. And then if we would like, we can begin to walk those hands forward. And come down onto our elbows or fold all the way down to the floor. And then slowly, let's help ourselves back up. Beautiful. We'll bring that back leg forward again. We can just place that foot on the mat. We'll find those pinky toes again. We'll begin to extend. We can just have a bit of an extension. We can get all the way. We can bring it in. If we have a strap, we can always use that strap. We won't be here for long. Good, and now we'll just keep holding that foot for a little bit. We'll grab the other foot, see if we can balance on our bums a little bit. And now that first foot will tuck, second leg comes out. This one will feel a little bit less supple as we have not worked on it yet. But give it a little bit of a stretch or a little length. Good, and then we'll just gently lower that baby back down. That first leg, so my left leg is in, and we'll find ourselves in Janu Shirshasana on this side. Finding those sitting bones again, and then begin at the toes. Give them a wiggle, give them a stretch, open those babies wide. We can even put our fingers in there if we need. And then a few circles around, get those crackles out. Both directions. And then some good flex. And a good point. Oof. And a flex. And a point. Good. And then we'll find that good comfortable flex here in our Janu Shirshasana. And then hands will find their spot right here in the front. Few folds here. Inhale, we lengthen. Exhale, we know the drill. Wiggle those fingers forward. Lower the chest down, hinging at that hip. One more breath here. Lengthen and sink. Good. And then inhale. Let's walk those hands back just about halfway. Find that nice tall back, and then we'll begin to turn toward that extended leg, one hand on either side, turning that those shoulders so that we are over the top of that long leg. Nice tall spine. Exhale, let's fold forward. Take the breaths. One more big, deep inhale here. Exhale. Keep folding. Get to the tail of that exhale. We'll drop the head. And then we'll slowly roll our way up to the top here. Coming back to the center, let's inhale, lift those hands up to the sky. And now let's turn to that bent knee for a little spinal twist on this side. One more breath here. When we're ready, coming back to the center. Think about keeping that bent knee where it's at, flexing the foot, and then we'll bring that extended leg back behind us for deer pose here. Take a couple of breaths, little shift and a little shimmy if we need. Let those hips get used to where we're at before we begin to fold. Or we don't fold, it's totally fine. And then slowly, let's help ourselves back up. Bring that back leg forward. Give it a little bit of a break here. Hold on to the pinky toe side when we're ready. And then we'll find the other pinky toe side. Pull those feet in if we would like. See if we can do our little balance here on our tail. Good. And now let's extend one leg. And then we'll come back. And we'll extend the other leg. And we'll come back. Up to you. If you would like, you can try to extend both legs. See how our balance is doing today. And then we'll just gently bend those knees. Place the feet onto our mat. And we'll slowly work our way into just a wide-legged seat. Walk those tails back a little bit so we're turning that pelvis. We're sitting right on those sitting bones. And then if we need, we can keep those knees bent just a little bit if that's what helps. If we can even put little cushions or a rolled up blanket underneath those knees. Find where we're at. Take a few breaths here. Keep a wiggling, finding where we're at today. Good. Hands are right out in front of us. Inhale, and then exhale slowly. Walk those fingers forward. The goal here is to encourage our body to fold, but not to force it. So if we get here and this is where we feel like we need to be, then we hang out here. Stay for several breaths. Maybe your body lets its guard down. We can wiggle those fingers a little bit further. And then we stay. There's no need, there's no finish line here. We're not looking for a certain place that we're trying to reach. So we find where our body is wanting to be and is comfortable to be today at this time. Good. Let's do one more deep inhale here. Exhale. All the way. Drop the head. Let it hang. And then slowly rounding that back, rolling our way up. We walk those hands back in towards us. One big breath here. Inhale, lift those hands up high. And we'll turn toward that left leg. And then as we exhale, we'll lower the right arm down to the inside of that right leg, right thigh or the right knee. Palm can be up or it can be palm down. We find where we're at. We lengthen inside those ribs, on the outer ribs. We lengthen in our neck. We slowly tilt our way over toward this right leg. And then slowly release those hands down to the center. Take a breath. And then walk our way back up. Good. Let's inhale, lift those hands up high. Turn toward that right leg. And then as we exhale, keep that length on those inside ribs as we slowly tilt and sway our way over toward that left leg. Three more breaths. Good. And now let's just turn toward the floor. Both hands can find their way to the center. And then we'll slowly walk those buddies back on in. Bend the knees. We can even help. Slowly, slowly Bring those legs in to the center. Need, we can give them a little wiggle here, side to side. Windshield wipers, they've been open wide for quite some time. It's good for them. Good. And we'll find them back in the center. We'll swish them around and we'll come onto our hands and our knees. Feet can be soft behind us or they can be tucked completely up to them. Our hips will stay over the heels. We'll begin to walk those hands out in front of us. Extend those arms more, and then we'll lower that chest down in towards our mat for puppy dog pose. We can rest our forehead down onto the mat, or we can maybe put the chin down onto our mat. Good. And now slowly, let's begin to lift those shoulders. We'll come on forward and lower all the way down to our tummies. Give ourselves a shimmy. Beautiful. And now from here, we can just keep our right hand underneath of our head. We'll bend that left leg, reach back with our left arm. A little quad stretch here. So think about pressing our hips into the mat, lengthening in those quads as we slowly bring that foot in towards our keister. And then we'll release that side and switch over to the other side. So left hands can stay underneath of our head. Right hand reaches back, finding that foot. Lengthen in the quad as we press the hip down into our mat. And then we'll release that foot down to the mat. Bring our hands to the mat underneath of our shoulder, and we'll press back all the way into a child's pose. Round in our backs, tuck our chin. Arms can come out in front of us, or if we would like, we can even bring them back by our toes. Roll up into a little ball here, taking 2 or 3 breaths. And when we're ready, we'll swish those feet over to the side. We'll come on to our bottoms for just a brief moment. We roll up into our ball and rock back onto our backs. Good. Keep those knees bent in towards us. We'll rest our head and our shoulders onto our mats. Our arms can hang out to the sides with the palms up. And then we inhale here, feel our entire spine pressing into our mat. And then as we exhale, we'll bring those knees over to the left. And even take our gaze over that right shoulder. And on our next inhale, we'll bring those knees back to the center. And then exhale them over to the other side. Come back to the center. One more time. Roll up into our little ball. Hugging the knees in towards our chest. Tucking our chin. One more deep inhale. And then exhale, we'll release everything down to our comfortable Shavasana position. Close our eyes. And we just soften. We allow ourselves time to just be still and to rest. When we are ready, we deepen our breath. We slowly come back into our space. Give ourselves what our body needs right now. Wiggle, or a twist, or a stretch. And we'll bring those knees in towards us. We'll rock over onto one side and help ourselves all the way back up to seated. Take a moment to check in with how we are feeling right now after our practice. And after our Shavasana reset. We inhale one more time together, bringing those hands all the way up to the sky and connecting them at the top. We exhale them down to our hearts with a purpose. I'm so grateful that you took the time to allow me to help you through your practice. You took the time for yourself to take care of you, both your mental and physical self. I wish you a day full of joy and kindness. The light in the divine in me recognizes and respects the light in the divine in you. And when we are together, whether physically or virtually, we are one. Namaste.